Happy Wednesday. So on Friday, Rob over at Rob's Penworks talked about the fact that for the fun of it, I will randomly text him and tell him what pigments he used in a pen blank. This is sort of my superpower after working in the watercolor world for a couple years. And my other superpower is that I can duplicate a paint set just from online swatches and pigment numbers. Now, I have a lot of fun with this. I use it to my advantage a lot if I see a color and I don't want to buy a pan of it, but I also like doing it sort of as a skills test. And in this case, that's what it's going to be, because White Nights has just come out with 12 new granulating colors, and they're going to be pretty much impossible to get your hands on in North America. So I have decided that I am going to try to recreate this set using a whole bunch of single pigment colors and what I know about pigment science. So let's get into it. All right, let's do this thing. So first up we have Blue Dream, which is PV14 and PBK28. So sort of aiming for something in like here, I think. So grabbed a palette. I'm actually running short of palettes after the YouTube members class because I haven't cleaned stuff yet, but we're going for more purple than blue. This is going to be our blue. And I'm actually, it's been such a long time since I've done one of these. I am going to, I think, just for this first one, I'm going to test over here first. Just to sort of make sure I'm where I want to be. It's been a very long time since I've recreated one of these sets. I feel very out of practice here. That was far too purple. Just toss a little more blue in there. Because the thing with these sets is because they're only giving us how it looks washed out, that's all we really care about. That actually might not be that far off. All right, we're actually going to do a little dot of that over here. And let's see how that dries. I have a feeling we're not that far off, so we'll leave that there. We'll go on to Green Dreams. We'll see how that dries down, and we might try the other version of Cobalt Violet, but I'm pretty sure it's that version. For the green, we're very, very bright. And so we're a PG50, a PY3, and a PBR24. I know which version of PG50 we're using, I think. I think we're using this green version. I do have a blue version. I don't think it has the blue undertone to it to be the blue version. So I think we've got to be this green version. So there's our green version. PY3 is this White Nights Lemon Yellow. Whenever possible, I do try and use White Nights paints for these mixes because I know that they are using those pigments. It's very lemon yellow. And then PBR 24 is over here on this Sennelier dot card. Ooh, I think I've just taken that way too yellow. So, toss in a little bit more green. This is not great paper for testing these on. But really, this first attempt is just to sort of give me an idea of where I'm at. And once these first swatches dry, then I'll go back in and I'll see what I need to move around. I think, though, one, they're using a rougher paper. I think they're also using a They're using a different cobalt violet. I'm not sure that they're using a different cobalt violet. This one seems pretty similar. So on to Rose Dreams. I'm gonna go for something in here. So we have PV14. For this one though, I'm very sure it is this pale version. There's no way they're using the dark version in this. So PV14 and PO73. Again, not a mix that I would normally use. PO73 is very overpowering in mixes. I've already taken it, I think, too far, but maybe not. Oh, yeah, no, I haven't. Okay, I'm wrong. I will survive being wrong. I actually might have to take this a little bit more purple. I think I also might want a rougher paper. Oh, that's really fucking pretty. Holy shit. Whoever does the color formulation for White Nights, just know I adore you. Your colors are so much less boring than the Schmincke Super Granulating sets. I've shared my opinions on those sets. These are so much more fun. I can't get that to do what I want it to do, but this is so fucking cool. And suddenly this video is age restricted because I'm swearing in it, but whatever. PV14, PB36, PG7. So I think we're back to the dark purple for this one. And PB36. I'm gonna go with the teal version. I've got the blue version pulled as well down here. I think though you're the teal. And then PG7, which is here. I'm just gonna put a tiny bit of PG7. I might have to add more, but I'd rather start small and work my way up. Where are we at? All right, I'm not mad at it. So this is going to be attempt 1. I will, though, add a little bit more of this to the mix. And make that attempt 2. Oh, yeah, that's it. Cool, cool, cool. So they're just using PG7 to make it more turquoise. And I think I'm not quite turquoise enough. Oh, now I've gone too green. So we've got our dark turquoise. Where's that where we're going? That could actually be where we're starting. Okay. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing the right level of bright turquoise, but it is a PB 36. Yeah, this is Mint Dreams, so it's a PV 14, PB 36, PG 7. So it is, unless they are using the blue version, but I don't think they are. I actually think that's not super far off. How's that one dry out? This one might actually be it. So we're gonna let that dry. We'll move on to Green Mystery while these dry out a little bit more. How's that? I actually think you probably need a little bit more blue. You're not granulating as much. I feel like I need a rougher paper. Let's go grab a rougher paper. All right, I have raided my paper stash and found 3 pads of Legion Stonehenge cold press. And so we are going to do a couple swatches on this because there are just a couple that I'm not sure if the issue is that there's just not enough texture to the paper. Like this green, I fully think that the issue is my paper doesn't have enough tooth to it, but I might be wrong. So we're gonna put this down. Well, maybe not, maybe the color is off. I think there might actually not be enough of the dark, deep color going on. So we will try some more PG50. And let's actually do a whole bunch of PG50. Let's start with this yellow, and then we'll go here. Because that looks like it already has way more texture going on. All right, there we go. And then let's look at this. So this actually has too much purple going onto it. This has way more of a blue undertone. So PB28. It's going in here. We're going to give it its own card as well. And we're just going to play around on something with a little more tooth to it. Honestly, I think that's our problem, is that this Strathmore cold press doesn't have enough tooth going on. This paper clearly has so much tooth to it. Where are we at now? It sort of seems closer. I almost want to take it a little bit more blue. Oh, that might be it. Because even though blue's later on in the pigment list, it is very blue. Oh, there we go. There we go. Look at that. Ha ha. I win again. All right. So there's our take 2. And now that it's on a much rougher paper, it's pretty clear. So the tooth of our paper is also just a problem. But I do really like this paper. I think, honestly, I think I got this one first try. So we are going to leave that one. We're going to go look at this one again. It is not teal enough. I don't know that I've got a more turquoise. PG7. Unless. Oh. That would be interesting if that's what they're using. I need to go find that then. So here's the deal. I have a very old pan of Daniel Smith Phthalo Yellow Green. And according to the pigment number on this pan, and the person who sold it to me, it is PG7. Now, as far as I can tell from an online search, now it is a combination of pigments. But according to my pan, this is a single pigment version. And based on online swatches, there is a version of PG7 that is this color. So we're going to assume that a very long time ago, Daniel Smith did make a version of this color that was a single pigment. And so let's try and see if this gives us this teal, because I have a feeling that what we're actually missing is that yellow undertone that really gives you that bright turquoise. So we're going to go back to our dark purple and make our puddle of dark purple. And then we are going to go and grab our 36. I'm still going with this one. I'm still leaning that this is the right 36. I just feel like it's the right 36. And then I really think that they're using a pale like this just to brighten it up. And honestly, I think I might have taken it too far. But I think what they're doing is they're using it. Yeah, I've taken it too green. I think what they're doing is they're using it to brighten it up. And so let's add in some more purple. Let's add in some more of our turquoise. Because I'm genuinely sure that what they're doing is they're using it to brighten it and really make it pop. Oh, and less. They're using the blue version. Okay, they are. Mixed with green. And then you're mixing in your purple. No, it still doesn't seem quite right. So what? You're using this pale version. Neutralize that with a little bit of that. Too much. We can always go back and we can add more pink. So we've got our cool gray. And now I'm going to add in this. I'm going to add in our turquoise. Oh, that's what they're doing, aren't they? They're using, I think though they're using an even, potentially brighter version. This. I think this is almost too muted. Do I have a brighter version of that in my palette? Because I think that's what they're doing. Logically, that makes sense to me. Can I find a brighter version of it in my palette? No, everything else is muddier or darker. Nothing is that electrically blue. All right, we're going to put a swatch of this down because I think this is pretty close to what they're doing. I wonder if there's any section. That's actually not that far off of that. All right, let's go back to the purple and see where we're at with the purple now. Oh yeah, all right. See, sometimes you just need to change up your paper. And what I needed was a more textured, rough paper. Tell me if I was right or not, because like, all right, round 3. What set are we on now? We are on to Mystery Green. PG 26, PBR 33, PB 16. So PG 26 is going to be this. Got this very nice green. PBR 33 is going to be this brown red. And then PB 16 is on this dot card. It's on this dot card. Okay, sure. Sure. I have to get my hands on this set somehow, because some of these have been hard and some of these have just been, ooh, that one's gonna be interesting. Like, look at here. Like, it's so green here and so bluish purple up there. Interesting. Oh, I love projects like this. All right, after a brief intermission to eat dinner, I am back. So let's grab this PV16 and PB29. I actually think we're this deep version, not the regular version, but I might be wrong. And then PG7. I think we are too turquoise. So let's go back in with more violet. Oh. Well, there we go. I think that's pretty much it. We might have to add a touch more blue, but I think that should granulate out the way we want it to. We'll just have to see. All right, red mystery is where this gets difficult because PBK 28, as far as I can tell, does not actually exist as a watercolor. So we're going to start with a PBK 11 PR 254 mix, and then I'm going to see what I feel like needs to be added to it. I'm leaning towards, I already know the black I'm leaning towards, but I just want to see where these two pigments get us. That isn't actually red enough. Interesting. Normally these black reds are very all right. That's the black I want. Okay, so PBK 28 appears to be a very matte dark black. And because I don't have it, I think I'm going to go with a, let me find the swatch, PBK 8. I'm actually wondering if this is a typo and it should be PBK 8 and not PBK 28. So let's grab PBK 8. So I'm going to add a little bit of this. The reason I think it's a typo is because this should give you the opacity with the red underneath. Yeah, there we go. I think it's a typo. And I might be wrong. You know, 4 months from now, they might come out with the version that is the PBK 28 as a full pan. I, though, am for this one going to do PBK 8. As my replacement. I think it's probably what it actually is. And I'm willing to be wrong, you know. They might come out with a half pan version. Somebody else might come out with a half pan version. Right now, though, it's just not available. And so I'm going to assume that it's a typo. I'm going to build this up a little bit more, actually. Which I don't always do, but I feel like it sort of needs it. Finally, for this row, we have Mystery Black. Now, I don't know about you. This does not feel black to me. This feels very, very brown. But this is going to be a PB29, a PBK11, and a PBR25. All right, so I believe our PBR25 is, yeah, cool. It's not a color I use all that often. So we're actually going to build up backwards. I'm going to start with our 25. And then we're going in with our 11. And then we're going to go in with our ultramarine blue. Now, I am going with the lightest ultramarine blue I have. Because this is very purple. But according to the pigment list, oh, there we go. There we go. Actually, might need a touch more black. Do we need a touch more black? I think we need a touch more black. Just to really make this pop. Let's go. I have to say, very few things feel as good as when one of these sets is going well. And looking through this set, I'm pretty happy. Like, this one could use a touch more red. I might go back once it's dry and try again. That's pretty spot on. Like, if you look in here, like here, this one dried a bit more pale, but I'm still not totally unhappy with it. And these are all, I believe, good now. Yeah, that one's good. Up top, that one's good. The swatch doesn't show it as good as this paper, but you do have those pockets. I do think they're probably using a larger particle size of PG50, but I don't have one in my palette that's a larger pigment size. Then there's our PV14 one, and there's our blue. Honestly, this is probably the one that I'm most unhappy with. I feel like we're still too green. And our pockets of color just aren't right. I actually am starting to think that this one was closer. I don't know. It's always, because I'm going off of somebody else's images, it's always a bit of a mess. All right. there we go. So PB28. I'm going with a blue version from White Nights of Cobalt Blue. I think it's actually probably this green version. But we're going to start with the White Nights version. And if it isn't the White Nights version, then I will start to dabble with something else. We've got our PR 102. I actually got two versions of this pulled because I'm not 100% sure. And then our PBR. So the reason I think it's this version instead of the blue version is that this and this make a purple. And it's not purple undertone. It's got some green in it. And yeah. All right. So let's grab a new palette because we're officially out of space. We're gonna tuck this up there. We're gonna grab this new palette. And we're gonna tuck PBK8 up there. Yeah, this needs some more red, but we'll come back to it. So let's grab the turquoise. I'm gonna do a good pile of our turquoise. And then we're still gonna go with this one. I do have another version of this pulled. I just am leaning towards it being that version. Nope. This seems even more wrong. This one might be... Ooh. There are parts of this that are righter. This is like up in here. Actually, let's see how that dries out. I think I'm missing some of this red, but I also think I have it sort of. So let's actually go back to this while that dries and sorts itself out. Because all I think I want to do is I think I just want to add a touch more of each black. Because it's like red. I think that's pretty close. I almost think it's a bigger grind of PBK 11. Yeah, that just like screams red. I think though they're using a bigger grind of PBK 11 so that you're seeing more of the red when it granulates out. Mountain though, let's go back here. This isn't not in here. So this will be our first attempt on paper. It's not right. I know it's not right, but you always need to start somewhere. And so now I've got our green undertone. Don't know how I got it, but I have it. So we're going to keep working with this PB28 because I have to think this PB28 is the key. We're going to do a bunch more of this. Like, I want this to be so over the top, and then all right. Something is telling me that this is actually pretty close. We'll see. I think my PR isn't red enough. Do I have a more red PR? I think I don't. I think I only had 2 options. And I think I pulled both of them. Yeah, I don't have a more red version, unfortunately. That's annoying. I think that's my problem. I think I need a more red version, but I'm interested to see how that dries down. So let's go to forest. I have to say, I don't totally understand the pigment numbers for this. Logically in my brain, you'd get this color with different pigment numbers, but who am I to argue with them? So PB29, we're going to say they're still using the deep version, which seems to be what they're using for most of this set. They're using a much richer ultramarine than they normally use. It also granulates more than their normal ultramarine blue, so I think that's probably why they're using it. Then we have PBR24, which is on our lovely dot card, which has gone rogue. White Knights keeps using this in sets. I'm going to have to buy a pan of this color. So I'm soon going to be out of this color. All right. And then we have PY150. Just this very bright. So here's my issue. I don't feel like this is green enough. And I feel like you're missing a deep enough brown to get you that brown tone. But I do think this exists in it. So that's my conundrum, is that I can't figure out how they're getting this mass tone. Because I am getting something that does exist in it. I just am not getting all of it. So, what do I want to do here? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? This is really annoying me. We will be coming back to this. Believe me. I'm very happy we went back to this. I like that one way more. The issue is that color's not in it. It is in it. I just was not aiming for that color. I was aiming for this. Let's see how it dries, I guess. This is evening. We're back to the pinks. These always seem easy to mix for, and now that I've said it, I'm going to jinx myself and be unable to mix for it. It is the same pigments as this, but you're adding a brown. So we've actually done this once already. So let's grab our purple. Let's grab our brown. Let's grab our orange. Let's grab more purple because we added too much orange. Might actually throw a tiny bit more brown in that. Yeah. Need a touch more brown. I think that's it. I like how much I think I'm right that I'm doing this massive swatch of it. I'm like, I'm going to be right. There's no way that I am wrong. There are many ways that I could be wrong. Like, I'm going to be right. Oh, I'm totally right. Honestly, White Knights, thank you for giving me a set that is boosting my ego. I was concerned. And honestly, like, even the ones that are challenging me, I'm so happy with because they're challenging me. I think the Schmincke Super Granulating set was really boring because it didn't challenge me, whereas this is actually challenging me. It's this light violet version. And then it's Holbein Yellow Ochre, which is the only PY42 I have in my palette. I prefer the 43 version. I'm not even going to swatch this on another page. Yeah. That is one that I can just do by eye. So, if nothing else, this has been a lovely ego boost. And it's always sort of nice to have a set like that. I feel like it actually probably could be a darker purple, but I feel like that could also just be the lighting in this photo. All right, back to Mountain. Right now we're in like this, and I need it to be a little bit more green. You might not get this one. It's an interesting set because White Knights is a Russian company, and lots of the pigment manufacturers are based in Russia, so White Knights as a brand has access to a lot of pigments that we might not be seeing commercially yet. So it could also just be a version that I've never seen. I'm not unhappy with this. Like, this is very much in this pocket. Does this more yellow version swatch like? Oh, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They're using a different pigment size than what I'm using. So if you see the version that was all really mixed up together, doesn't look right. This version though, where everything's sort of settled out, things are sitting differently on top of each other, does look right. That's because the pigment particle sizes they're using are different. And so some of their pigments are sinking, some of their pigments are floating on top of each other when you put them down on a page. And that's what's happened in that palette because it's had time to sit. Let's go. All right. For the sake of just trying it, we will try the other version of PR102 I have, which is slightly more orange, so maybe it'll help. Well, there's our green. If I add a titch more orange to it, what do we get to? Not quite. So here's what I think is going on. I think they are using a very red version of this and a very green version of PB28. There are very green versions of PB28. That being said, I don't own any that are more green than the teal version I'm using. Cobalt blue comes in a bunch of shades, and while a blue one is the most traditional shade for them to use, they could be using any number of things. And I just don't really know where they are going. I would assume it's a cobalt turquoise, which is what I'm using. I just can't get the color right, which makes me wonder if, again, like this, it's either a mislabel or something. Because the issue is, this green is this. So it is possible to get something that's part of the mixture in this paint. And this isn't actually that far off of this diluted. So I actually might, I'm gonna do one last swatch. It's gonna be this. And, oh, I got it into the fountain pen ink. Normally I label in waterproof ink, and for whatever reason today, I decided not to. I just labeled in whatever pen I had sitting on my desk. All right, we'll let that dry. I think I know what they're doing. I think it's a cobalt turquoise that they're using here, but I do think it's a very red version of PR102, and that's my problem. Other than that, though, like, they aren't bad. That's pretty spot on. That's pretty spot on. That guy got on the first try. That's pretty spot on. It's somewhere in between these two. I actually think this one's probably closer. It is very turquoise, and I think they're actually using a very pale turquoise version versus the dark turquoise that I have. But I don't think I have a paler turquoise version of it. As I look through my, I do. Oh, I do. I've got one from, do I? No, PB36. I was really excited. No, I've got a 15 and a 16. 36, 35, 36. No, it's a cerulean blue chromium that I already have out. And And I think Schmincke's is equally as dark. But this sheet has no pigment numbers on it. Give me a second. Turns out Schmincke has 2 versions and both exist on this dot card. So I guess we're doing one more mix where we try with this dot card. I forgot which purple we decided on. I think we decided on this light purple. So we'll put a little bit of it there. I think it's the blue version is what I'm gonna say. It is. Like, compared to a lot of pigments, there isn't a lot of tonal difference between brands with this pigment. The issue is I just can't get it green enough. Maybe it is the green version. So our green is a couple of turquoise green. Like, it's so pretty, it's just not green enough. I might actually go and check the pigment numbers on this to make sure I haven't made a mistake somewhere. Oh, that might not be awful. Let's see how that dries. Okay, so we're actually not totally dry, but what I want to do is I want to add a touch more turquoise to it. Really, I think the green's there to just like pretend we're green. And I think that is probably as close as we're gonna get. But I don't know that I'm unhappy with that. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed our first watercolor video in a while. I've missed doing them, but I needed something like this to inspire me to film a video like this again. So let me know down below what you'd like to see next. And if you're interested in doing more like this, feel free to join me over on YouTube memberships, where right now we are building a studio palette from scratch, and I'm taking you through the process of how I would go about building my studio palette again and what I would start with. And I would love to see you over there. Let me know down below which is your favorite color mix. I think, honestly, it's either Rose Dream or Evening Broom. They're pretty much the same. This one's just got some brown in it. I love a good pinky orange that I can use in a sunset, and those are definitely it. So I think I'll be adding that to my repertoire for mixes. And that's what I love about doing something like this. Like, this is a skills test, but also they're giving you the science of how they've created the colors. And so now you get to, you know, alter them a little bit to suit you. Will I ever use, you know, a green this bright? No, but I can tone it down with a little bit more PG50, and I will definitely use a green that granulates like that, which is what I love about a project like this. So I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next episode.